In this lesson, we're going to talk about rules and laws of exponents. And so we're going to be simplifying different expressions that have variables and terms with exponents, and we're going to get these in our simplified terms using the laws of exponents. And so we're going to talk about what these laws are. And we've got a couple different laws here, and this tells us how we can simplify these. So first, if we are multiplying two terms that have the same base, so see how both of these have a, if they have the same base, then what we can do is add those two exponents together. So if we have something like x squared times x cubed, my bases are the same, so I can rewrite this as x to the 2 plus 3, and then 2 plus 3 will just give me 5. Oppositely, if we are dividing two terms, what we're going to do, if our bases are the same, is we're going to subtract that exponent. So here, my bases are the same. I've got x to the 6 divided by x squared. So I'm going to subtract those exponents, so write it as x to the 6 minus 2. And 6 minus 2 will just give me 4. This time, if we have two different bases that are being raised to the exponent, and they're being multiplied, that just means that we're going to distribute this exponent to both of those terms. So if I have xy all squared, then I can rewrite this as x squared y squared. Same thing if we have a fraction. Both the top and the bottom will get the exponent. So if I have x over y raised to the 5th, then I can just write this as x to the 5th over y to the 5th. Then, if we have an exponent raised to another exponent, what we're going to end up doing is multiplying those two exponents together. So if I have x squared raised to the third power, I can say this is x to the 2 times 3, which will give me x to the 6th. Lastly, if we have a negative exponent, all that means is that we can take the base and move it down to the bottom or move it to the top of the fraction. So if I have something like this where I have 1 over x to the negative 2, I can move this x squared up and change this 2 to a positive. So I would just get 1x squared or just x squared. And these are our different laws, and we're going to use these to take some larger expressions and simplify it and condense it down to something a lot more simple. So let's take a look. These are two examples where we're going to have to simplify these expressions. And so when I get a fraction like this, what I want to do is simplify the top and simplify the bottom first before I start moving things around. So here I'm multiplying these two terms here. So I'm going to multiply these two coefficients first. So I'm going to have 2 times 3. That's just going to give me 6. Now let's worry about these x's and y's. So I've got this x cubed and this x squared. Remember, our rule is that when we are multiplying the same base, we can add the exponents. So I'm going to have x to the 3 plus 2 because I have this x cubed and this x squared. Now I'll do my y in green. I've got this y squared and this y with no exponent. When we don't have an exponent listed, we're going to say that there's a 1 there for the exponent. So when I write this, I'm going to say y to the 2 plus 1. There's nothing for me to simplify on the bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and write that in as it is. So x to the 4 y cubed. Okay, now let's simplify this a little bit. Let's add those exponents up. So I'm going to say this is 6x, 3 plus 2 will give me 5, and y, 2 plus 1 will give me 3, all over x to the 4 y cubed. And now I can divide these two, and remember when we divide, we're going to subtract the exponents. So I'm going to rewrite this as 6, and now I have x to the 5 minus 4, and y to the 3 minus 3. So when I add those up, I'm getting 6 to the x, 5 minus 4 will give me 1, so I don't have to write any exponent for that. And then y to the 3 minus 3 is 0, and so that's actually going to cancel out this y. So my simplified expression is just 6x. Let's do this second one now. Again, I'm going to simplify the top and then simplify the bottom, and then I can start combining and mixing the two together. So this time I realize that I have this 2, this squared here, is being applied to both of these. Remember when we had an exponent raised to another exponent, we're going to multiply those two exponents together. So I'm going to take this and say a to the 2 times 2 and b to the 3 times 2. There's nothing I can do to simplify the bottom, so I'm just going to write a cubed b. And now let's simplify these right here. So 2 times 2 will give me a to the 4th, and 3 times 2 will give me b to the 6. All of this is over a to the 3 and b. And so now, once again, we're dividing these two terms, so we're going to subtract our exponents. So I have a to the 4 minus 3 and b to the 6 minus 1. Since there's no exponent here, once again, we can just say it's b to the 1. And when we subtract these, a to the 4 minus 3, well, 4 minus 3 is once again just 1, so I don't have to write any exponent there. And then b to the 6 minus 1 would give me b to the 5th. So to summarize how we use the law of exponents to simplify our expressions, if we're given a fraction, we're going to simplify the top first and then the bottom, and then we can start mixing them around. But we've got these different laws where as long as our bases are the same, we can combine those two expressions to be one. We've got different laws to tell us, like if we're multiplying two terms, we're going to add. If we're dividing, we're going to subtract, and so on and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you had as much fun as I did, and I'll see you in the next video.